everybody, welcome to my homestead and welcome to my channel. In this video, we're going to continue talking about the BYU Jerusalem Center and some more very interesting things about it. So if you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe, like this video if you end up liking it. Make sure to leave your comments and then share this on your social media. So this is basically part two. The previous video was supposed to go along with this one. I had done a video um, that contained both the contents of what I'm going to share in this one and the last one. But my very first attempt, I wasn't aware that what I was using wasn't recording multiple windows. And so it was stuck on just the one window and you couldn't see what I was doing for part of the video. So I have to do it again here. But that's okay, because as I did that, I found out something new that's kind of mind-blowing. Really mind-blowing, I would say. So, okay, so let's go through this. So here's the BYU Jerusalem Center right here, right? We've talked about how it has the same, roughly, if not exactly, the same proportions as the ancient tabernacle and also the ancient temples. Um, that this feature right here, where these cubes are, these three cubes, 1, 2, 3, these match up almost perfectly with the holy place and also the Holy of Holies, right? Okay, so now, if that's where, okay, so if that was intended and that's where those would be, if this was a temple, um, this right here, this southern part would be the entrance, right? And so, I was speculating in the very first video, like the big long video, about if this was to become a temple in the future, and of course it would have to be according to if the Israeli government would allow us to convert it to a temple. But those things are down the road. But conditions can change, and this very well could. They may change their mind and say, okay, you can do a temple. You've been on your good behavior. Just promise not to proselyte. But yeah, you can make a temple. So that's a possibility. But anyway, if this was a temple. Okay, we've talked about how temples, the majority of them, they face east, because, that's the direction from which Christ is going to come, right? He's going to come from the east. And so the majority of temples and the majority of Angels Moroni face eastward, right? Well, if you're making a temple, if this becomes a temple, and the Lord knows that this is going to become a temple, uh, it wouldn't make sense to have this facing east, because Christ is going to come right here. To let me go to the 3D view. Let me zoom in a little bit. So here's the Temple Mount right here. Right here's the Mount of Olives. So this is where Christ would come, right? And so it wouldn't really make a whole lot of sense that this particular temple, where'd it go? Right here, right here. It wouldn't make sense that that temple would be facing east, because that would be like looking past where Christ is going to come. It would make sense that it would face toward the Mount of Olives. Now, I drew a line right here, and the line actually it does point to the Mount of Olives, but it points to kind of like the backside. You see that right here as we start to um, look from a lower point of view. Here's the peak of the Mount of Olives, and then the line kind of goes along the backside, which I actually think is kind of perfect, because if you'll remember, I did a video about this a long time ago. If you come here to this student manual, this is an Old Testament student manual, Kings through Malachi. Okay, this is talking about the Battle of Armageddon. Okay, it says, the Mount of Olives will split in two, providing an avenue of escape for the house of Israel. And it has Zechariah 14, 4 through 5. I'm not going to read that, but I'll leave the link below in case you want to come here and check it out. And then later down here, as the Jews flee through this avenue of escape, they will see their Messiah who's come to deliver them. In gratitude and joy, they will throw themselves at his feet, or at the feet of the deliverer, and discover the wounds in his hands and feet. Suddenly they will realize that their Messiah is the Messiah who came to them before, and the Jewish nation will be converted to their God. Okay, so the Mount of Olives is gonna split in two, and then it's gonna be an avenue of escape. So let's go back here to the map. If you look at Jerusalem, okay, of course all this is Jerusalem, but when you're thinking of like the old city, and I think where the majority of the population is, it's all uh, west of the Temple Mount for the most part. You have like a bunch here, you can see this too, but like um, the old city itself is west, and it looks like the majority of the population is there as well. So basically, it would make sense as Jerusalem is being sieged, I guess from maybe this direction or from the north or something like that. Um, oh, I lost my bearings. Here we go. There's the Temple Mount. That Christ would come here, right? This mountain would cleave in two, and then there'd be, I suppose, like a valley right here, and then they would go through it to escape. And as they go through it, guess what? It made it sound like they would come through, and then they would see the Messiah over here, um, because this said, as the Jews flee through this avenue of escape, they will see their Messiah, who has come to deliver them. Um, it kind of makes sense to me that they would kind of like come over here and get to safety first. But whatever the case, I think that would be like kind of the resting spot once they're safe, and that's exactly where this line is. So if the Savior wanted to meet them there, and then if he wanted to like uh, go to the temple, which I don't know if he would do that right away, but whatever the case, the temple, if the BYU Jerusalem Center becomes a temple, it would be pointing directly to him as he's with the Jews, right? And then, should he so choose to go to the temple, he would just make a straight line right into the entrance of the temple right here. So I think that's pretty neat. I think that it makes sense that this would have this orientation, not directly south, but a little bit behind the Mount of Olives. So that's another interesting detail, right? Now, this is the part that I think is going to blow your mind, because you'll notice that I didn't just draw the line down here southeast of the BYU Jerusalem Center, but it continues up northwest. Okay, so what happens? What happens? Okay, keep in mind, keep in mind, if this becomes the temple of Jerusalem during the millennium. Okay, now we've had conversation in the comments section about, maybe the Jews will still build their third temple, and then that temple will be for sacrifices, and that certainly could be the case. Or maybe this temple, if it becomes a temple, maybe this will be renovated or remodeled to where there could be sacrifices up here. We don't know. So there might be two temples, there might just be one, or this could just be altogether wrong, because I'm open to that possibility too. But it seems like the more and more that I research it, the less and less likely it is that this isn't going to become a temple. I'm starting to feel pretty strongly that way. But I'm not rigid. I'm not rigid in my thinking. But let me present this next piece of evidence to you. So let's pretend that this is the intended millennial temple for Jerusalem, okay, and therefore the headquarters, the center place in Jerusalem. Well, if we follow this yellow line that I've drawn, and we just follow it, okay, we're in the Mediterranean Sea now, going over Cyprus, going over Greece, Bulgaria, Czech Republic, Germany, United Kingdom, crossing the Atlantic. Oh, now we're in Canada, Quebec, Ontario, Wisconsin, Iowa, Missouri. What? Okay, you come down here, wait for it, and we're at the Temple Lot. We're at the Temple Lot, the site that was dedicated by Joseph Smith. Let's go over here. This is on churchofjesuschristtemples.org. I'll put the link below so you can check this out. But this is talking about the Temple Lot. Joseph Smith presided over the dedication of the Independence Temple site on August 3, 1831, and laid the northeast and southeast cornerstones, or corner markers. So over here, and I think I've seen pictures of it before, but basically cornerstones like here and here, I suppose. And here's like the church building of the church that currently owns this little piece of land, right? Um, but this is the Temple Lot, and it turns out It turns out that if you draw a straight line down the middle of the BYU Jerusalem Center and follow it all the way around the earth, uh, this very site is along that line. Step back and think about that for just 1 minute. We have a building on Mount Scopus, which is essentially part of the Mount of Olives, or along the same ridge line, that is oriented toward the Mount of Olives. Okay, it's the dimensions, at least from a satellite view, um, are basically the same as an ancient temple, uh, even down to the Holy of Holies and the holy place. If you kind of look at where those blocks are, okay, we have a building over there in a very, very important site that came about by incredibly miraculous means. And I want to see if I can find those other 31 miracles that Elder Holland mentioned. Okay, because I know of two. Um, the story that we read, and then also the story about the two missionaries that just happened to die in Palestine and then got buried there. That paved the way for that to be possible. Yeah, there's 31 other miracles that attended that to make the site possible. And yeah, so and that just happens to line up with right here with the temple lot in Independence, Jackson County, Missouri. Well, can you see why maybe for me anyway, can you understand my point of view why I would start thinking that maybe that will become the temple in Jerusalem? And like I said, they may still make the third temple because it may be necessary for sacrifice, for animal sacrifice, and for the sons of Levi to um, once again give a pure sacrifice, or however it's worded. And I'm going to do another video about that because I want to look into that more, see what I can learn. But yeah, just look at that, just right down the middle. It goes right down the middle. You know, I may not have drawn it perfectly, but you can see that it's very unlikely that that the temple lot would fall along any line that goes down uh, the center of this building, right? Unless it was intentional. So the way that this has been oriented makes it so that it goes through um, that not just Jackson County and not just the city of Independence, but the actual temple lot itself. You guys, it's too much. It's too much. Oh my god. Surely you have to see that as more than just a coincidence, right? Um, okay, so yeah, that's all. That's all. That's all that I have for this video. I'm sure there's going to be more that we learn about the BYU Jerusalem Center, but it's incredible. If this doesn't turn out to be the temple or some significant building, then that's just too much coincidence for just nothing. Okay, so I'll leave it right there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Uh, like I said, please share this with people, because I think there's a lot of people out there that think that we're just so far away from the second coming because the temple hasn't even been built yet. Well, that might not be true. That may not be true. The temple might be built. Now, the current agreement is that this is not to be used as a temple, but like I pointed out in the last video, things could change. You know, maybe when the lease is up, or maybe even before that. The lease is up in 2033, but even before that, you know, I think that we have a really good reputation with the Israeli government. And maybe the Orthodox Jews aren't concerned. Maybe we've been on our good behavior, and if we put in a request, if it's even necessary, but if we put in a request, um, maybe they'd give it an okay. There's already been so many miracles just to make this. Why couldn't the Lord perform some more miracles so that this could become a temple? I mean, for heaven's sake, you have the Church of Mary Magdalene right here, um, which is it's a pretty big feature. Unfortunately, it's not showing up in the 3D view here, but it's very noticeable. If you're over here on the Mount of, or if you're on the Temple Mount, you can see it very easily. And there's other churches all over the place over here. The Church of the Holy Sepulchre. So, um, being on their good side for so long and being good citizens, good neighbors, whatever you want to say, um, I would think that maybe it would be possible at some point for them to be okay. Yeah, go ahead. You can renovate it, turn it into a temple. Just please, still no proselyting. Oh, okay. Yeah, no problem. Um. So anyway, yeah. My point is, share it because I think there's a lot that don't understand how quickly things can develop. There's some people that think that we're still just years and decades and so much time away. Well, this is one of those things where it's like, no, maybe it's a lot sooner than what you thought before. So, okay, I'm gonna end it. Okay, so again, have a happy New Year, and I'll talk to you guys later.